In the days of the judges, Israel was once again trapped in the familiar cycle of rebellion, oppression, and desperate cries for deliverance. After a season of peace, the people had turned from God, and he allowed them to fall under the iron grip of Jabin, king of Canaan. His military commander, Sisera, was a man feared throughout the land. With 900 iron chariots at his disposal, symbols of advanced military technology in that era, Sisera ruled with cruelty. The Israelites, scattered and weak, could not stand against such power. Their villages were deserted, trade routes abandoned, and the people hid in fear, their spirits broken under constant oppression. Amid this darkness, God raised up an unlikely leader, Deborah. She was a prophetess, the only female judge recorded in Israel's history, a woman of wisdom and courage. Day after day, she sat beneath the shade of her palm tree between Ramah and Bethel, where people from all over Israel came to seek her counsel. Her authority did not come from military might or lineage, but from the Spirit of God, who gave her insight and discernment. She was the steady voice of truth in a time of confusion, a leader who guided the people not by force but by faith. One day, God gave Deborah a command that would change the course of Israel's history. She summoned Barak, a commander from the tribe of Naphtali, and declared to him the Lord's instructions. Go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them up to Mount Tabor. I will lure Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands. It was a bold call to arms, a challenge to face Israel's greatest fear head-on. But Barak hesitated. Perhaps he looked at Sisera's chariots and compared them to Israel's untrained, poorly armed men. Perhaps he remembered the years of defeat and the hopelessness that had settled over the land. In caution, or perhaps in fear, he replied, "If you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go." Deborah agreed, but she gave a sobering prophecy. The honor of victory would not be his, but would belong to a woman. Barak gathered his men and led them to Mount Tabor, a solitary peak rising from the Jezreel Valley. From there they looked out over the wide plains, where Sisera's chariots thundered like rolling storms. To the Israelite soldiers, those chariots must have seemed unstoppable. Yet Deborah's faith did not waver. At the moment of battle, she cried out to Barak, "Go! This is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you?" As the armies clashed, something remarkable happened. God himself fought for Israel. A sudden storm broke across the valley, and rain turned the dry ground into mud. The once invincible iron chariots, so swift on firm soil, became trapped and useless in the mire. The mighty Canaanite army fell into confusion. Barak and his men surged forward with courage, cutting down their enemies and driving them from the field. The victory was so overwhelming that not a man was left in Sisera's army. But Sisera himself escaped on foot, running desperately for his life. Weary and seeking refuge, he stumbled upon the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Jael welcomed him warmly, offering him milk and covering him with a blanket. Exhausted, Sisera fell into a deep sleep, believing himself safe. But Jael had already determined his fate. With quiet resolve, she took a tent peg and hammer, the tools of her daily life, and drove the peg through his temple, pinning him to the ground. The mighty commander of Canaan's army fell not to a soldier on the battlefield, but to a woman in a tent, just as Deborah had foretold. When Barak arrived in pursuit, Jael came out to meet him and said, "Come, I will show you the man you are looking for." There lay Sisera, lifeless, his reign of terror ended. The victory belonged not to human strategy or strength, but to the power of God working through the obedience of his servants. In the aftermath, Deborah and Barak sang a song of triumph, a poetic hymn that celebrated God's deliverance, the courage of those who fought, and the unexpected heroes he had used. The song praised Deborah as a mother in Israel, honored Jael as most blessed of women, and exalted the Lord as the true warrior who shattered Israel's enemies. Through their victory, the land enjoyed peace for 40 years. If you are loving this video, please hit both that subscribe and like button to help this message to spread far and wide. Check out the rest of the Bible Stories playlist to enjoy heartwarming events of the Bible brought alive. Thank you for supporting the Wake Up channel. God bless you.